Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching RPTV. This past Wednesday, March 8th, 2023, Kedar, Ahmed, and myself visited an International Women's Day event on Ontario Street, hosted by the Neighbourhood Group. This event was hosted by a number of women speakers and guests and featured a panel discussion. In many different aspects, interviews, and conversations, powerful community members, all women, shared their thoughts about what International Women's Day means to them. Let's take a look and see what happened.
We're going to ask everybody to stand up, get energized, move their body a little bit as Marcel takes us through some Zumba. Thank you. Yeah, let's get up, get a little active. You can even sit down and just move your arms. Let's go. probably the most beautiful thing I've seen all year. I see women and people from all different cultures coming together and celebrating one another right now. So that's really beautiful. Now we are going to pivot to our panel discussion of women embracing equity through innovation in their incredible and inspiring work. So I'm going to introduce them and have them come up here and speak a little bit about themselves. First, we have Ashima Chopra, if you'd like to come up. Then we have Maria Clara de Sena. And Irby Khan.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashima, and I am a lawyer. I am the founder of a wellness company, and I'm also on the board of Revolution, which is a STEM organization providing young women and gender non-conforming youth with tools and resources to pursue careers in STEM. So what is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and math. We have multiple programs that we provide. One of them is the Ambassador Program, which is really the face of the organization. You learn leadership skills, business skills, work with different mentors. We also have an incredible Stemming Up program, which is for women between the ages of 13 and 17. This also includes gender non-conforming youth, and we teach you about app building, coding, business development, a multitude of skills to really prepare you for careers in STEM. And what we're really trying to do with Revolution is encourage more young women, young girls, gender non-conforming youth to be in executive roles, to be in technology, to really enter the career and workforce better equipped than they currently are. I am of course here, so if anyone is interested in knowing more about what we do, or if you know someone who would love to be a part of a program like that, please do speak to me, and I would love to have that conversation.
Well, thank you to TNG for having me. Thank you to my fellow panelists over here for their invaluable insights that they're about to share. I'm also grateful to you all for sharing the space with us on this auspicious International Women's Day. Some of you may know that I'm sort of a last-minute replacement for the incredible Nasima Akhtar, who is the Executive Director of Bangladesh Community Services, or BCS for short. She is at a slight accident and unfortunately cannot join us this afternoon. I hope her speedy recovery. I also hope I do her BCS justice with what I have to share with you all today. So this International Women's Day has been a time of reflection for me. I'm not only thinking and reflecting on what is happening across the world right now, from Iran to our neighbors in the United States, and even here in Canada, concerning women's rights and human rights. But I've also been reflecting on my personal experiences around women and them identifying people this past year. Since around February of last year, I've had the good fortune of working with BCS on their Fight Misogyny and Achieve Gender Equality campaign, and with their feminist leadership fellows. And I've had the great privilege of teaching and mentoring, as well as learning from teenagers to senior women in the Toronto communities. A majority of whom are also Bangladeshi, but also recognize themselves as Tamil, Black, and African. I'm not personally familiar with communities in the east of Toronto, as I did not grow up there, or frequent the community enough until I started working with urban and rural communities. Professionally, I am so today I'm just here to talk to you about what BCS has done through their campaign and what they've done with their feminist leaders and what BCS has achieved over the pandemic
Thank you so much. And before I introduce our moderator, I just want to remind everyone to be mindful of the noise level. We really want to hear everything that they have to say for us today. So I'd like to bring up Jenny, Times Change Women's Employment Services, to moderate our discussion today.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. I'm going to be asking these three keynote speakers some questions. And first we'll start off with, what does International Women's Day mean to you and why should we acknowledge it?
Women's empowerment and equity is that we can't just look at women's oppression only through the lens of gender, but even if we look at the room today, we have to look at it through the lens of race, ability, class, and sexuality. And so when it comes to International Women's Day, when it comes to women's empowerment, when it comes to recognizing women, not just today, but the rest of the 364 days in a year, it's really important to understand, what does inclusivity mean? What does it mean to truly empower women? What does it mean to empower women both personally in our own lives, in our own households, but also professionally when it comes to hiring decisions that we make, when it comes to the way we treat our colleagues, our mentors, our employees. I think it's important that this conversation be very layered, because we as human beings are layered and have our own experiences.
As Ashima just pointed out, that we are made of layers. As women, we have different identities. So for me, International Women's Day is about intersectionality of different identities coming together, of different communities coming together to understand that yes, we are women. We are here, and to discuss issues. International Women's Day is kind of like, as I said, a reflection of a chance for us to reflect on what it does it mean to be a woman, and what does it mean to be a woman in our current world.
Special to myself, Women's Day have empowerment for each woman to have to face different backgrounds, especially in this place. And it's time for we stand up for ourselves, because no matter, like I said in my first speech, we all have mother, and then we all have knowledge how woman is important for our life to change the world. I believe the mothers is we, right? And I believe start the revolution through the woman. No matter, women have more open mind for everything. Women have leaders in their knowledge, still young. So I believe in this moment we are beginning for a new world. We are new worlds. I believe that.
So when it comes to middle school girls, high school girls, moving into college, moving into university, pursuing apprenticeship, whatever the route that they might take, how can we increase awareness around what it means to be in STEM? I think we have this one perception about what it means to pursue a career in STEM, what it means to be a scientist or an engineer or technologist. But as we've seen through the evolution of AI, of tech in the world today, there are multiple careers for multiple people. And so there's not only one route or one path to success, but there are actually multiple routes. And I think when we bring awareness to the options that people have, that would play well into having more young women, having more young girls think beyond, I think, traditional views and conforms of what success looks like, traditional paths of career, and really think outside the box.
Excellent answer. And just for everybody to know, could you explain what STEM is, the acronym of STEM?
Sure. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And something that we're actually changing STEM into is STEAM, with the A to include arts. Because it's interesting speaking about intersectionality. STEAM, there's a lot of intersectionality even between those 5 streams.
Thank you.
Well, in my perspective, I believe women have to be every place. A couple of years ago, Canada had been faced some violence in construction that a woman had been facing. I believe that not just in technology, the police, women have to be everywhere because technology is one point, just one point, but we all have knowledge to stay everywhere because we are the change. The technology can say our social media, and that's what I want to say, that every place that a woman wants to be, they can do, because woman educates everything. I believe that, because to me, as a film director now, I realize that we can do everything that we want, that we dream. Not be afraid, broke the door, and do. That's our chance to do.
Those were some really wonderful answers, and I decided to go last because I was thinking from your wonderful answers. So I'm going to speak about my personal profession and then also the work that I do with BCS. So as I mentioned previously that I'm a journalist, I've worked for the Toronto Star, I work for the Globe and Mail, and I focus on health and community stories. So what I'm also dealing with is also people in STEM spaces. And I see that there's such a disproportionate reception of women compared to men. And even as a health journalist in the field, I see that there's a lot of male journalists who are taking the hard-hitting stories, and women are not really given stories where they can explain a lot of the hard-hitting science facts. So when, as a young journalist, when I do understand those things, it's surprising to a lot of people. I get asked a lot of questions from experts, big honchos who are usually men, like, how old are you? They don't need to know how old I am. They just need to know that I do the work. And I do it correctly, and I do it efficiently, and I share the information. So in terms of technology, yes, it's everywhere around us. It's social media, it's how you use your phone, it's how you use everything right now. So the work that we do at BCS with the fight misogyny, achieve gender equality, we are trying to have an intersection view of how young girls and senior women in the community interact. And a lot of seniors in the community do not have an understanding of technology. So we try to interact younger girls from high school to post-secondary school. So a lot of the girls who are in post-secondary and secondary schools have STEM backgrounds. So, and a lot of the senior women have a social work background. So together it's sort of combined, and they learn from each other. And there's this sort of breakdown of a barrier in the community sense. But there's, of course, still a long way to go in terms of professional-wise and all of that. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a long way to go before we are considered, I guess, equal in the sense when it comes to technology and male-dominated workforces. But it's good to hold your own and keep pushing to break those barriers. Thank you for your answers. Our next question is, what has been the most challenging obstacle you have faced in your career as a woman, and what have you done to overcome it, and what have you learned from it?
I mean, I think that there are a number of challenges that I faced, and I'm sure many people can speak to in the room today. I think to highlight, I'll highlight two of them. One is I'm a South Asian woman. I was born in India, and I immigrated to Canada at a young age. And growing up during my childhood, one of the things that was really taught to me was, as a brown girl, I would have to work twice as hard as my white counterparts. And this was also tied into not feeling a sense of belonging. This was also tied into needing to be perfect. If I didn't get 100% or the A+, I just wasn't good enough. And now as a lawyer practicing as an entrepreneur, I've seen how in needing to be a perfectionist, that has really had an impact on the way that I now lead personally and professionally. So one of the things that I would really tell, I think, my younger self, and I would encourage young women, is that you don't need to be perfect to succeed. And it's really practice makes progress, not practice makes perfect. If you are engaged in your own growth, in your own learning, in your own self-awareness and self-reflection, you will be able to succeed no matter what you want to do. That's number one. And number two is not to tie your self-worth into anything outside of you, whether it's the grades or the job or your career. Your self-worth is really intrinsic to who you are. It's not something that can ever be taken away from you. So I would really encourage progress. I would encourage growth and learning. And I would encourage to really believe in your worth is not something that can ever be taken away from you.
I agree 100% that you said, and in my job back home, I'm the first person from Brazil become a refugee in Canada. My work was inside jail to guarantee human rights to women, and I did a good job. I faced a lot of barrier, like a lot of violence to be black, to be a person who I am. But I am here couple years speaking a new language, face a new reality. So I want to say, no, don't have any barrier for us. It's just opinion. People have opinion, violence. We follow the law and become winners. I believe that. So I have to repeat, we can do anything that we dream. We have a chance. So I don't believe in barrier. We have a powerful to break the door and get where anything that we want. I believe that.
There's so many boundaries as women, and also the boundaries are added on when you emigrate from another country, when you are a refugee, when you are a racialized woman, when you are a marginalized woman. And for myself, I am Bangladeshi. I recognize myself as a Desi South Asian woman. Breaking into journalism as a young journalist was it was hard. You know, especially with mainstream media, with legacy media, and I work with legacy media companies. And you face a lot of doorways, and like you can't break the glass ceiling. It's there, and you just kind of keep knocking at it and hoping that, you know, you take others with you who look like you, who believe in the same things as you do, and you try to break that sort of barrier to achieving your own success. So you can, you know, it's not this idea of a seat at the table for me anymore. It's more so make your own table and make the seats yourself. and bring people who you really believe in to come sit at that table, who believe in the vision that you believe. So it's, for me, it's a lot of women, LGBTQ people who can, and among others, again, identities, layers, intersectionality is going to be a huge theme of today, to understand how we can come together and achieve an equal vision. In terms of what I've heard from community members, because since I do work in the Toronto East communities with BCS, is that a lot of women who they feel they're belittled when they face these barriers. Barriers often are in the form of sexual harassment, of oh, you can just be a housewife, let your husband come to work, take care of the children. And you know, this is from minimum wage jobs to the highest salary that can be even, you know, see from your corner shop to the CEO at the biggest company right now. So it's this understanding of how do you fight against the barrier. Try to find people who will come out and support you because they are there. That's why we're gathered here today, to share ideas and share conversations.
Thank you very much. Speaking of that table and creating your own, as community leaders, how do you speak for the voices who are not at that table? How do you speak for the voices who are not being heard? How do you represent them?
I think that one of the things that I've really tried to do, you know, going through law school, completing my master's, now being a practicing lawyer, and starting my own business, is being constantly engaged in learning. And it's interesting that you mention the table, because I think if we were to actually visualize the table, you not only are sharing ideas, but you're asking everyone around the table to contribute. There is not just one person who sits at the head and dictates what is said, the behavior, what's done, what actions to take. And so there really has to be the accountability and responsibility of me, but also engaging other people in conversation, in discussion, and implementing a strategic plan as to what steps can we take to empower women, to support women. And whether this table is your family room table in your house, or whether it's a table in an office, it's really important to ask people what their ideas and perspectives are. Even if we look at this panel, and I'm sure everyone in the room today, we all have our individual experiences, we all have our shared experiences, and it's really important to have a more collaborative community approach so that we can truly make a difference.
Women have to understand place is to share. How many people you can share your experience, your ability, you grew up. And women don't have to face another woman as an enemy, but a member, a company that has something that probably you have to learn from. So I believe that we together can open more space. We can share our experience, our background, and change so many things. It's important to say that because after 2020, 2021, everybody's afraid to speak, to understand what's going on, right? Like we are talking about some barrier limitation. To be here after a while and speak as a person who I am, transgender, refugee, is hard, but I believe that this moment, I have to speak, I have to talk, because I open the door for so many people that want to contribute, not just with Canada, but with the planet. We know are not problem. We want to share our space, our experience, and be part of the all. So I see that moment like a shine in the future. And yeah, that's what I have to say I'm happy, and listening to you guys, something so beautiful, you know. And yeah, I hopefully next year that space gonna be full of my people to share their experience and see what we have on the table and give it to another. Thank you, guys.
I understand that the three of us were sitting up here right now. You might think that, oh, we have a platform, so we're speaking very freely about, ideas that we can talk about, how do we bring our own community to our work. But I do believe that each and every one of you individuals have a story. You're here, and you're listening, and you have the ability to support the people in your lives, your friends, your family, another woman who you know who is going through a struggle, and you're not turning on them. So, but for myself, when I think about how I can bring stories from community members, for example, working with BCS has been very important to how I think about community and how I think about marginalized and racialized women, and how I can bring their voices into my work and understand their experiences of some women that I know have, through BCS, through community circles, that even the feminist leaders who I mentor have led. They've talked to community members who have faced domestic violence, who have faced abuse, who have faced very, very serious things, even poverty. So listening to these stories, I have to understand, I'm not just one individual. I'm connected to other people, and I need to listen, and I need to be present to take these stories in and really make sure that they are being heard, and they can tell their own stories. Because since I am a journalist, when I tell stories, when I write stories, I'm given the permission to be the storyteller on behalf of people, but they're necessarily not my stories. So through my work, what I have tried to do, especially with BCS, as women whose first language may not be English, or they may not be well versed in English, to help them create a story, their own stories, that they can relate back to their own communities, and wider communities through English, because that is sort of the universal language in Canada. So they can get their story out further.
Thank you very much. I would love to sit at either of your tables and just learn and grow from all of you. Thank you. This is a bit of a tough one. How do you handle situations where a peer and or colleague is being culturally insensitive, sexist, racist, or homophobic? How would you personally handle those situations? And what advice would you give to others when you're in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough question, and speaking from, personal experience, I've dealt with misogyny, sexism throughout my whole life. Still to this day, even as a lawyer, it's definitely something that I face, and whether it's, I think the first thing that I would say is it's so critically important to have a support group, whether that's colleagues or mentors or family, people that you can go to talk over these situations. I think it can be very easy to be in a situation where you're not being treated well and think it's my fault, or I've done something wrong, or I need to change, or I need to improve. And I think it's really helpful to have a support system who you can talk things through with. That might even include, a therapist. Whatever that looks like for you, it's really important to build a strong supportive network. And number two, I think when it comes to how to handle that person, the perpetrator, whoever the opposition might be, depending on the situation, I think if I think back to workplace settings where it's happened, I have had to really, whether that's speaking to HR or speaking to a boss or speaking to someone within the workplace that I'm working with who can provide me with some guidance, be an active listener, and really take actionable steps to doing things differently. Whether that's speaking to the other person, whether that's having a team meeting, like whatever that may look like, I think it's important that not only do we have a support network of people that we can casually talk to about what happened, but even within a workplace setting, I think it's important to have a support network of people that you can look to or talk to when you deal with these types of situations.
That is not easy topic to talk about because everybody has their background, their experience, what they eat in their place, But as I have been faced that my whole life, I believe that today everybody has a cell phone, everybody has the possibility to jump and see what's going on in the planet. We don't have any choice to judge people because they walk like that or think like this, but we have a chance to give people what we put on the table, our knowledge, and see the variety of the human being variation, right? Diversity, quality of a human being. So we don't have any chance to stay just say this is right or wrong. It's about love, it's about peace, right? The planet is facing now a war. And if you are in college or in some place people are homophobic, racism or something like that, or they have mental health issues, limitations, or they are ignorant. Even they a book or a link for a film, for they open their suitcase and see what they have in their bag. That's is like something that we talk before 2020. Now we have changed to change. Our mind is somebody else's mind. Just be and give some linked book. That's I believe in, because some people don't want to change. Who have to change is ourselves. And today is a Woman Day, right? A woman have leaders shifting themselves to change this. So we are something special to do this. About homophobia or racism or something else.
It's a very serious thing to think about, and for me, through my personal line of work, sometimes I don't like to think about those things. I just kind of march forward. So personally, in terms of racism, sexism, anything like that I've faced, it has been a little sometimes serious because there are days that I would log into my email and I would just have hate mail from anonymous people that I don't know their faces. They hate me because of my last name. They hate me because of what I look like. They hate me because of what I identify as. They hate me just because of some headline that my editor chose that I did not even write. They just hate me because they see my name and they see my picture. So that is outside of my work life that is outside of my office or whatever I do, but it is related to my work. Sometimes you think if you go out into the community, hey, what if something happens? What if someone, I don't know, decides to just go at you? So in terms of this, and this has been made worse since 2020 when COVID-19 came and there were more reporters, more hate. There was more hate towards reporters and people who were reporting on, for example, the so-called Freedom Convoy and everything, and it's mostly female journalists facing this. And I work as a freelancer as well, so when you're doing freelancing, you're just kind of left on your own. You don't really have a human resources department that you can go to and be like, I'm facing this and I'm worried about my safety. What if they find out where I live and something might happen to my family and friends? And this is something that a lot of women journalists have to think about, which is not great when you're trying to get some sleep. But then you think about it and you deal with it, you deal with the emotions. You think, we have been also told that if it's really, really serious, report it to the police. Because there are branches of police that are taking hate melodies seriously. So for me, I just carry on doing the work. I think about all the other women who are dealing with things, and not to make myself into some sort of martyr or anything, but you do the work. You still go out and you still say, hey, I'm here, I'm still here, you're not gonna scare me into submitting to whatever hate, vitriol that you're going to throw my way. Yeah.
Thank you for answering such a challenging question. I hate to say it, this one plays off of that one. So, with so much political division in our society, especially since COVID, how can we women, regardless of political ideologies, stand in solidarity with one another? How can we overcome our differences to empower one another?
Just south of the border in the US, there was a really interesting article that came out, and essentially it was a Democrat from Pennsylvania, a woman Democrat from Pennsylvania, and a woman Republican from Philadelphia are coming together to advocate for paid family leave. And I found this really interesting because there is a lot of political divisiveness. There's a lot of general divisiveness, I think, in the world today. And one of the things that these women talked about was that despite us being on opposite sides of many political ideologies, one of the things that we do share is that we're both moms. And they were able to find common ground in them being moms and in motherhood and in wanting to advocate for moms across the country. And so I think something to take away from an example like that is, despite us having differences and varying political ideologies, I think one of the things is there are a lot of shared experiences that we do have with a lot of people, whether that be things that, like from externally, we share with each other, but I think that there's a lot more that we have in common with other people than we give credit to. And so I think finding common ground is important to really create change and move the needle on a lot of issues that, you know, I think that countries and people are trying to tackle in the world today.
Yeah, that topic is something that we must have to think all the time about. We can support each other because women have been facing a lot of violence from many history in different countries, and politicians try to separate us, how much we are fight between us, they make more money, they grow more, men becoming more power, and then we are losing. So, in my perspective, in my idea, we have to occupy space, we have to face that and share our experience again, because they will not give our chance for our voice become loud if you start fighting between us. So we have to listen and assimilate that. In my perspective, I believe art can do so many things, change. Music, poem, cinema, film, everything can change something, right? And yeah, we have a power. We have to do something now and listen what the planet is talking about and put ourselves in the middle. And we are not island. We are together to be a continent and a planet. I believe.
Those are some very important points that Ahmed and Maria have pointed out in terms of political ideologies. Yeah, despite yes, of course, there's so many political ideologies, but at the end, as my fellow panelists have pointed out, at the end of the day, there's that human connection, that human condition that we can all connect on. We're all somebody's child. We're somebody's mother. We're somebody's sister. We're somebody's. We have that base thing that we sort of share in terms of the human condition. But I think this, with political ideologies, there are things that, healthcare, for example, healthcare, it affects us all. When it comes to women's healthcare, something is being shut down or something being pushed forward, whether it's positive or negative, it affects all women, all femme-identifying people. And that cannot be ignored. Political ideas and ideologies aside, we cannot ignore the fact that if something happens in the system, it affects us all. When it comes to our health, when it comes to our economy, when it comes to our self-sustainability. What Maria pointed out about art, expressing ourselves through art, that is one of the most universal languages. In my work at BCS, what I really try to do with women, again, as I mentioned, that they range from high school students, post-secondary students, to seniors. Some of them may have been born here and they grew up here, so they have a sort of quote-unquote Western ideology, or someone who has just arrived in Canada, they might bring a different perspective, and they might have different values. So my job as a mentor has been to sort of connect all of those and throw a string through those and have those conversations about, because at the end of the day, it's like, what can we learn from each other despite those political ideologies? We can learn, a nugget of truth from everything. That's what I believe. Whether it's positive or negative, like why is it there? What does this say about our society? So this is something I like to think about when I go through art, when I think about innovations that are happening in STEM. Why does it need to take place when it comes to women's health, for example? So it's this idea of this human condition, just coming down to that at the core of it all.
Thank you. I love the idea that finding your common ground with your fellow person really in the end is what matters. And yes, art is a universal language. That's great. So this is more of a question for our youth and how to handle the harms of social media these days and what it's been doing to our younger generation and causing depression and eating disorders and cyberbullying and all of that. How do we empower our younger generation to live their true self?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's you know, definitely another tough question. I think that it's really important to engage youth in conversations. And what I mean by that is for them to share their experiences, their thoughts, their opinions about what they're dealing with at school, what they're dealing with on social media, what they're learning about, so that you can not only engage in active listening, but also so that they can share their transparent and honest truth with you about what's going on. I think that we may have an idea, we may, as you were mentioning, we see a lot of what's going on in social media, but I think it's really important to engage youth in conversation and hear it from them as to what they're dealing with, what challenges they're facing, so that whether it's from a household standpoint or even a career standpoint, you can come up with a solution to any type of problem or struggle or issue that they might be having.
Yeah, the planet is facing that, I can say, terrible moment. It's like a kind of, because a lot of young people is losing their life, their time about social media, especially women, because social media gives some direction. If you don't have a perfect skin, perfect hair, perfect body, you are not accepted in social media. That means social media make human being become think. We lost being a human being, a real human being. We are now at cell phone or laptop. We have to go back to be a human being. See people as a normal. Because when you see like big family, like as Kardashians, people realize that a real woman, but we have to say that's fake thing. That's not real, right? Once more, I believe in art. Everybody has a background, and we celebrate with different people, different bodies, different skin color, different hair. So once more, I believe in art is a place to change that environment.
If you guys wouldn't mind, could we keep it down a little bit? Because I'm even having a hard time hearing these lovely ladies speak, if that's okay.
Sorry, I'm just gonna move around a bit because I feel a little stiff.
Yeah.
I know we're losing you guys because I hear a lot of talking, but I'll keep it short. So, social media and effect on mental health. So I'm a Gen Z. So my life is revolved around social media, you would think. But what I've really had to tell myself is that there's social media, there's a perception of what we are, and what we try to sell to people, because social media, you are trying to sell an image. You are trying to create a platform where people are sort of, you know, the followers. They're following you because you are creating this sort of image of yourself. So for myself, I've had to sort of differentiate between social media and real life. So going out and living your life. So as a Gen Z and having my peers who are also Gen Z, my friends, is just that push of, having an off time for social media, taking that time off, turning your devices off, putting it on Do Not Disturb, things like that. Just, of course, there's mental health issues that come with it. There's nothing easy that I can say about it. I can't preach, I can't pontificate about what we can do about eating disorders and mental health issues when it comes to young people. But what I can say is differentiating between social media and real life. It really comes down to that.
Thank you. I think this will be my last question because I can tell we're all getting a little antsy. But I just wanted to make it more of a positive note. And I just want to know, who inspired you? Who's been your inspiration? Who's been your mentor?
I think like the importance of mentorship cannot be stated enough. I think we need mentors no matter where we are in our life, whether that's in school, whether that's in post-secondary education, in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. The value in mentorship is super important. There are multiple people in my life, there are multiple women in my life that continue to inspire me. And I think to keep it really short and sweet, I would just say it's really important to amplify the voices of women in your network. It's really important to amplify if your friend has a business, talk about it, promote it. If your colleague is in the hunt for a promotion, try and help them out. Try and bring, your boss's attention to what they're doing. Whatever that might look like for you, whether it's supporting women-owned businesses, whether it's buying from women-owned businesses, I would really encourage everyone to support more women in their life and ask the women in your life, how can I help you? How can I support you? What more can I do to amplify your voice and your mission?
The person who inspired me was my mom, because she lost her husband when we were kids, and then she raised us to be a good human being, to respect each other, to respect our community. So I see my mother as my inspiration in life. So she was a community leader, and she did a good job. Until today, she's still laughing. She's still celebrating life. She's still happy. She don't use much social media just to talk to me, but she's my inspiration every day, because when I wake up, I need the power to go to work, to say I have one day more. And I think why she's still so strong after a while. So I can say another person without my mom.
I love that.
Inspiration. So I would say my inspiration is my nanu every day. My nanu is my grandmother. She passed away in 2021 at the age of 82. Lived a wonderful, wonderful life. I pursued community work. I pursued telling stories. I pursued the arts because of my nanu. She always recognized me as a writer. Oh, you're a writer, since I was a kid. She would be telling me, oh, I'm giving you stories to tell, and she inspires me every day. I came to work with BCS because right before she died, she told me, do something for your community. As I mentioned, the Bangladeshi community is not a community that I grew up in. So when my nana told me that, I told myself, okay, I need to go find and honor, do work that will honor the memory of my grandmother, who was always involved in the community, who did charity work. She gave women access to birth control when in the 60s in Bangladesh, when there wasn't no access to birth control. Women would be told to stay away from her because she was giving them birth control, so they wouldn't die of having children one after the other. So that is my inspiration. My nana is my inspiration every single day of my life. But I also am inspired by the women in the journalism field who deal with hate and still do their work. I'm inspired by the feminist leaders at BCS who are open to learning, who are open to new ideas, who are open to finding similarities instead of differences, of the familial connection.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you for sharing your truth and your vulnerability with all of us. And thank you for answering some very tough questions. We really appreciate you guys coming out here today. Thank you.
Then I'm going to translate a note that I wrote to Maria Clara this morning, and then I'm going to do a bigger piece. I think I'm going to take about 6 minutes. Self-identified as a writer ever since I can put syllables together. I wondered why me. Feeling incomplete while feeling exhausted by several trains of thought. To expose the uncontrolled urge serves me good. Born in Brazil, I arrived in Canada without a full sense of my nationality. And that's how I remain. Portuguese is essentially my art, where I transcribe the words without effort. In order to be inclusive, I've been creating in English. I read my words and I'm still working and facing the public. I belong to this universe, and verses are as natural as nerves and pulsating arteries. Longing for a style and tired of looking for an image to follow, I have decided to build my own sound poetry, and I call myself temporal, which means storm. And then this morning, I have to go back here into my story because I threw the note in the garbage by mistake. But it says, in Portuguese, and I'll translate in my mind as it goes. Maria Clara, you are the prettiest woman I have ever seen before my eyes. And you, the word womanhood gains meaning. The fibers of your eyes and the gratitude in your voice and your inexplicable beauty spread news of better days. I see in your smile peace for my soul. In your posture, the desire to keep loving. And I put a little part of a song that says, you can do anything you want to me. All I'm going to return is love. And that makes me think of Maria Clara. And now, I'm going to end with an ongoing 3-minute reading, or maybe less. Today, we bring unique parts from each goddess' heart. We crafted weekly into victory, exposing ourselves to a vulnerable stage. I'm here to confront, comfort, eliminate failure, the failure of not trying. Will you like what I have to say? Honestly, I'll be home before I find out, covered in chocolate, drinking milk I have condensed over the years, obeying the fears that whispered. Are you ready? I want to be full of self-love, love I have steeped away for quite a few makings of tea, watching the steam rise from bubbles, burst from heat, not here to compete or to compare. I want to hear the words from your lips, and I will stick the tongue into cavities altogether equals hot. Let that sprout, break, cement, stretch, deep branch, tear, snap, pierce, rip, and disrupt. Contemplate what's in your plate. What's on your plate? Begin to dig and explore, learning to adore what's old and the new ancestors. Anxious to mine my chest, sword sapphire, scoop crystals, this vicious cycle had its first spin before I knew how to walk. My dad, who's a poet, didn't teach me to talk. He instructed me to speak. He directed me to seek the news and every ingredient of a banana shake. His creativity is concentrated in being satisfied. These were not merely moments of my childhood. It didn't affect me just then. These were awesome suggestions of a wise brown man, and I have built my entire foundation based on gratification. Now, you tell me, do you see stars? Can you see the open scars? Glowing fire is not common. Sparkles every day, and it's not just okay. The moon is unreal, a flowing satellite of bored light, changing shades upon my shapes. Moving winds, controlling seas, and stimulating tides. Bees are not just big flies, not only they make honey, they pollinate. So people, mothers, fathers who don't just procreate, they appropriately end life. The power of rhyme. I'm not here to judge what's on your plate, but it matters. It matters how much you eat, and if you eat. It matters the water you have to drink, and if you drink. The sun isn't an outdated source where everything began. The sand isn't a miracle unworthy to be enough. It is enough to be in its presence. And we carry shame for no one, for no purpose. So let's release. Maybe flexible, maybe friendly again, because I'm not good at selling, and I'm not good at buying. But I want to allow the hidden artist stuck in the dust of lost goals, and I'm here to insist these are not just my dreams. These are not just trees and unconsidered genes. What I have to bring, no one else can give. And at times, I wish to sing, but mostly I like to converse while I pick from the thoughts and the diverse of my neurons. And the words we're trying to find are not as important as the words that have found us. When the request is my own chest lights and phrases, there is no room to negotiate. And I'm gonna say that I wish to stop crushing my vocabulary and minimizing myself, because it's not arrogance to have pity on me. And as I start to expose my words, I maximize the confidence of those who believe. Don't bring me down. I will unfrown the frost, the brief debate of the multiple opportunities. Often, I get tired of my voice. My inside and outside voice so out of control, it hurts. But to shut it up can cut the umbilical cord I invisibly carry with the universe, and verses are as natural as nerves and pulsating arteries. The need for poetry incarnated in my meat. To read this out loud is called sound poetry. I wish, I want, and I will stop crushing my ever-going growth while both energy and force heal me in their womb, because there are more poems to be said despite misery and despair. And including the doubt, brightness comes when we share. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angelica, for sharing the beautiful piece with us. Please join me to thank her. Thank you so much. And now it's time for rapid draft.
A lunch bag and some toiletry items, and some shampoo, mouthwash. Okay, no. Okay, so we're gonna do the first one. Okay, the lucky winner is 3027-0547. 3027-0547. No takers? Is there anyone? Going twice. Okay, we're moving on. Is that you? okay, we're gonna do another one. There's some people left, so you're lucky. You're still here. You're awarded for that. Okay, so we're still raffling off this gift bag. 3027 0496. Up, okay. You wanna come up? So our next gift card is a $25 PC gift card. So, okay. 3027 0516. Okay. 0516 is the last 4 digits. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I think that person's left. I'm moving on. Still the $25 PC gift card, 3027 0548. 0548. Oh wow, these people are leaving for no reason. We're going to continue, don't worry.
Make yourself into a product and really find.
I'm not really looking into practice. Last 4 digits, 0494. 0494. My God, okay. We're moving on. Last 4 digits again, 0503. 0503. This is gonna take the whole night, isn't it? Okay.
So
0323. Yes! Okay!
find people who are interested in the same thing. So, for example, Instagram, social media, and one of the things that has been really hard for me when I have to work with someone
Okay, so we're going to the $25 gift card.
I don't
Still
know how
the $25 PC gift card we have. Last 4 numbers, 0529. Finally, on the first try, someone. Oh, what's up? Okay, the next one is a $25 Freshco gift card. Last 4 digits, 0346. Yay! Okay, we still have another $25 Freshco gift card. And the number is 0492. 0492, going once, going twice, moving on. Okay. Okay, no worries. 0344. Yay!
want to introduce David from Children's Book Bank, who's actually giving away 200 free books today.
Thank you. So hi everybody, I'm Dave from the Children's Book Bank. I'd like to say thanks to the panel and all the guests, really inspiring speeches today. If you haven't heard of the Children's Book Bank, we're in 2 locations. We're on Dundas East, across from the Aquatic Center, in the building known as Daniel's Spectrum. And our entire mission is to get books and give them out to kids and families. It was a program started by a woman 15 years ago. We're going to have our anniversary in May. Kim Beattie was a woman who saw a need in the community for kids to have more books. And the program has grown so that we have 2 locations. The information is on that table, so after this wraps up, you can get our schedule for March break. We have special guests, poets, spoken word, artists, dance, available for your kids. And we have books for kids from infants. We have beautiful baby books to books for teenagers. And you know, I think a lot of the panel talked about the importance of art. And we believe very much that through great literature, children can see role models. You know, I've got a book here called My Mom is a Firefighter. And I'm old enough to know when I was a kid, we never saw a female police officer. We never saw a female firefighter. I never saw a female electrician or lawyer. So we are seeing change. We are seeing opportunity. So we have some great books for kids. And on the table, we have a display about powerful women and feminism. You're welcome to take those as well, or the books on the mat. And please visit us regularly at our Sherbourne location, 561 Sherbourne, and at our Dundas Street East location at Daniel's Spectrum. Books are always free, no registration, and we'd love to see you more often. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kedar, and I'm here with RPTV News. I'm here today covering International Women's Day's event, and I have here
Kaina Mendoza. Maria Clara de Sena.
And I just wanted to ask you a quick question. What does International Women's Day mean to you?
International Women's Day is still a fight. It's still a struggle. Many women, gender non-conforming people, two-spirited people are still fighting for their rights all over the world. We're still fighting for our rights here. If you look at the anti-trans legislation, the different barriers to healthcare access, even here in Canada, which is of course like the area that I work in, you see that there's so many people struggling. And most importantly, and most profound challenge is the struggle of the soul, the struggle for our community to assert itself and to feel good about itself. So that's for me, like for me, March 8th is not the only day that I care about women. It's not the only day I care for women. It's not the only day I think about women. I live this and I experience this every day. So it's just yet another day that maybe recognizes or elevates a little bit more what is the work we're doing and then actually allows us to promote it into the mainstream. But that does not mean that tomorrow I stop caring about women, because every day I live in this gender, I live in the transition that I went through, and I'm going to keep fighting for the rights and the liberation of my community.
Yeah, today isn't just one day in calendar that people work together to say how Women's Day is important, to celebrate 2,000 and many days of the year. And I believe that more day for our Women's Day than how she said.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like the audience to know about you, about anything else that you want to put out there?
Well, I work in the community, not exactly Regent Park, but I'm in St. Jamestown, so feel free to visit me. If you're ever queer, questioning, trans, and you want somebody up here to talk to help get services to help get access to care, feel free to come to St. Jamestown Community Corner and ask for Kaina.
Yeah, come to St. John Corner, ask for Kaina, because they have some program that value women and to be a part and find what they're looking for.
Thank you, ladies, so much for the time. Have a wonderful International Women's Day. My name is Kedar Ahmed, and I'm here with RPTV News at International Women's Day. And right over here I have...
My name is Tati from the St. Jamestown Community Corner in Sherborne Health.
And Tati, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
It's such a big question, but I think one of the first things I thought of today when I woke up is the acknowledgement of the power and also persecution of femininity and femhood and womanhood as a whole. I think so many people, not just cis women, identify with International Women's Day because when you have any ounce of, feminine power to you, a lot of times you can be alienated, you can face various forms of discrimination, but there's also such a strong power and strength to womanhood and femininity, and I think it's so important that today is a day of recognition, and it's just a starting place for us to make sure that the rest of the year we're celebrating the eons of womanhood that has brought us to where we are today as a society as a whole.
Thank you so much, Tatiana, for being a part of this amazing event and for even emceeing it for us.
Thank you so much for having me right now, and I'm so excited to see RPTV.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kedar Ahmed, and I'm here with RPTV News. And we're here at International Women's Day, and I have over here...
Ashima Chopra.
Ms. Chopra, I just wanted to ask you, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
That's a great question. I think International Women's Day is really multi-layered when it comes to the types of things that it means to me, it means to women, it means to really generally people around the world. One of the things that I would really highlight is when it comes to International Women's Day, it's important to look at women's experiences of oppression, not just from the lens of gender, but also from the lens of race, ability, class, and sexuality. That's number one. Number two, with International Women's Day, it's important that it's not just a slogan or something that we celebrate today, but something that we really celebrate 364 days also throughout the year. And number three, I would really look to the women in your life, in your household, in a personal setting, but also professionally, that you can really support, uplift, and empower, and have conversations with them about what more you can do to help and support them, again, not just today, but also throughout the year.
I completely agree. International Women's Day should not only be one day of the year, it should be 364 of the days of the year too. Is there anything else that you would like the audience to know?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Hervolution. The event today that I came to was really on behalf of Hervolution, and essentially it's a STEM organization equipping young women and gender non-conforming youth with the tools and resources to pursue careers in STEM, STEM being science, technology, engineering, and math. If you're interested in collaborating and partnering, or know someone in your life who is a young woman in STEM, or a young woman wanting to pursue a career in STEM, I'd love to have a conversation.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being a part of International Women's Day.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on social media, and for more information, check out our website.